What up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Riding with Rush. It's a beautiful sunny spring day out here in South Bend, Indiana, man. Um, and on this beautiful day, it's a lot of dark, hateful things taking place with our brothers and sisters out there on the East Coast, man. And when I say brothers and sisters, I mean just the human race. I don't mean just, blacks, whites, or Hispanics or anything like that. Um, and so if you guys follow me on Facebook or you're friends with me on Facebook, you can see that I've really been shedding a lot of light to what's going on and putting my opinion out there as to what's going on out in Baltimore. And that's really what I want to address. A lot of people have been tagging me in their Facebook conversations today and trying to get my opinion and pick my brain for what's going on out there. And then you have a lot of negative people who, coincidentally, all the ones that I've encountered happen to be white. And all they want to do is pick apart and take things that I say out of context and try to use it to get me against me. Well, I'm not really going to try to argue with people on Facebook or anything like that. So what I'll do is I'll just bring it to you guys here in video format and let you guys have your own choice of what's going on, man. So, the first thing that really bothers me is kind of like what I just said. There are a lot of people that have something to say about what's going on in Baltimore. They're not really out there trying to provide any workable solutions, and they're not really saying anything positive about what's going on in Baltimore. And that's something that we have to stop doing as a people, as a human race, and as in the African American community. Just period. People need to be more positive, and as opposed to just complaining about things, man, you need to figure out what you can do to make the situation better. And if you're not going to do anything to make the situation better, then it's better to just keep to yourself. Because you're not really doing anything but putting more harm and hurt out into the atmosphere and out to the communities, and more hatred and things like that. So the number one thing is, what's my opinion of the Baltimore riots? Well, I'll tell you, first and foremost, I don't condone any forms of violence. I don't condone the criminal activity that's taking place where they're burning down businesses. They're burning down CVS and stealing medicine. I don't know how that's supposed to make the situation any better or anything like that, by stealing old people's medicine from a CVS, or by looting and stealing Doritos and condom boxes and stuff like that. I don't see how that's helping the situation. So first and foremost, I want to put it out there that I do not condone what is taking place. Secondly, I want to put you in the hearts and the minds of the people that this is actually happening to. And again, for those that follow me on Facebook, you may be familiar with this story already. But I'll just flat out, I'll run you through it real quick, of a situation that happened to me just a couple of weeks ago that may put you in the mind frame of just how high the level of racist activity is in the United States, especially with our police force, the people that are sworn to protect us, but who often do more harm than they do good. Some, not all. I have friends that are police officers. Not only friends, but I just know good police officers, and there are out there, probably more good police officers than there are bad. But the problem is, just like anything, negativity always gets the better end of publicity, and that's something that kind of upsets me too. But, excuse me. So just real quick, man, for the people that don't understand the oppression that African Americans have obtained throughout this country, I'll just give you a real quick story. It's 2015, man. I'm not a threatening individual by appearance at all. I'm not threatening, period. I'm riding home, and a routine stop, I get pulled over, and the cop that pulls me over, then two other police officers pull up. So now there's a total of three cars around my car. Now, mind you, in the back seat of my car, there's dog food, a car seat, and a basketball. Not a gun, not a weapon, not drugs, none of that. Now, you see me. I don't appear threatening or anything like that. I don't drive, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't drive some car that you would think that a thug or a drug dealer drive. I drive a Honda. I was wearing a tie. So it's like, people don't, they pull me over, and he comes up, and he's immediately angry and upset, and he's immediately getting smart with me and all this other stuff. And then the other two come up, and they got racial slurs, and they saying this, that, and the third. And they were threatening to take me to jail. And it was almost like they were itching. Those people that instigate. It's almost like they was itching for me to give them a reason for them to drag me out of the car and to whoop me. And so, you know, like I said, they threatened to take me to jail over something that legally you're only supposed to get a ticket for, you know. So not only that, so then a fourth police car comes up. This is the blessing in the whole situation. This fourth police officer is someone that I happen to have prior dealings with. Not in a bad sense or anything like that, but I've just had prior experience with this individual. So when she rolls up to the vehicle and she immediately recognized me from the situation or whatever, she then calmed the other police officers down and they let me off with, you know, just a ticket or whatever, you know. But the thing about it is, man, like as a grown man who's very capable of taking care of myself, it's very degrading to have to sit there and listen to you be demeaned. And in the back of your mind, you thinking, man, like, if you didn't have that badge and that gun and you was talking to me reckless like that, and I shouldn't feel like this anyway, but if you was talking to me reckless like that, man, just know it'd be some smoke in the city. So, basically what I'm saying is, man, that this happens on a daily basis. And it's been happening for over 500 years where the minorities in this country are susceptible to racism and degradation and prejudice and racial profiling on a day-to-day basis. Has been taking place for over 500 years, man. And people are just to the point, man, you can say whatever you want to say, but people are just to the point where they don't want to take it. They don't want to deal with that nonsense anymore, man. So, you know, 500 years of constant poking at me like I'm an animal, constant demeaning, constant criticism, constantly being held back, man. You gotta understand, people are tired of that. They children, they brothers and sisters, their mothers and their uncles, they getting killed like dogs in the street, man, and it's happening on a daily basis. And I know all the statistics that are skewed in the news and things like that. So, you know, if you really want to get with me on that, we could talk about that another occasion. I'm not gonna keep y'all here all day. I just want you to get in the mindset of what these people are feeling when they're out here rioting. They are I understand what they're going through to lash out the way they are. Now, the third thing I want to address is I don't agree with it. I think there are other ways to go about handling the situation, you know, and also I'm not going to get all off into that. The solution that I want to talk to you about today is to stop shedding negativity on the issue, man. Like, you can't judge these people. You can't just get on, you know, I mean, you can do whatever you want to do on your Facebook, but it's not right for you to get on, you know, Facebook or whatever, and to say stop making black people look bad and da-da-da. And this is from black people, man. Like, you are actually being more part of the problem when you do that. You know what I'm saying? Because what you're not doing is not understanding, because I'm sure as an African American in the United States, man, you know, you've come across some kind of racial prejudice in your lifetime, especially individuals that I know. You know what I mean? So, and if you have it, then you know individuals that have. So it's not right, you know, and you know it's not right for you to get on there judging them, saying stop looking like animals, yada yada yada, because all you're doing is feeding more into what the media is doing, what the media is putting out there to try to portray a certain image, man. So the solution to that, man, is to spread positivity on the situation, because what you don't see on the news and what you are seeing on social media and things like that is that, you know, there are mothers out there pulling their sons out of the riots. There are gangs that have come together and they're forcefully putting a stop to the riots out there. There was a group of over like 1,000 men who got together and marched through the streets to put a stop to the rioting. 1,000 black men. So anything you want to say about black men and negativity, yada yada yada, you know, that's for the birds, man. It's good and bad and everything. Just like the police, just like, you know, white people and they, you know, racial issues or whatever and whatnot, man. And it's like, there's good and bad in everything. So you can't just, if you don't want people to generalize you, you have to stop generalizing people, and especially your own people. Because if the stuff was happening right here in South Bend, Indiana, I guarantee it'd pop off the same way. I guarantee it. If people were getting gunned down in the streets on a regular basis by the police, South Bend's not having that, man. Niles and Buchanan, they're not having that. There's going to be some problems around anywhere you go in America if that is happening on a regular basis. So you got to stop judging people and shedding negativity on the situation. If you're going to judge righteously, and then shed positivity on the situation and provide a solution. So the solution that I'm proposing that you put out there is, if you see what's going on, why don't you start shedding light, like the picture of the little boy who was giving water to the police officers? Because right now the police officers are actually doing their job. They're trying to protect the city and trying to protect, trying to put a stop to the rioting. Like I said, with the gang members that got together, man, they have bombs thrown at them. Check the article. It's on my Facebook. It's on there, man. Everything. So, Jay Rush, check me out on Facebook, man. Like, go on there and check it out. Read the articles. Educate yourself to what's really going on out there in the situation, and stop feeding into what the media and the government wants to shape and mold your mind to believe what's really going on out there. Just like the article with the interview with the councilman. The councilman was talking about all the positive things that they're out there doing in the community, but the news reporter kept wanting to go back to one particular situation at a liquor store that was taking place. Apparently it was taking place behind them or over to the side or something like that, because he kept pointing and looking around like he was scared. And the councilman finally was like, look, man, you know what I'm saying? You ignoring everything that I'm saying to you, and you're not being a solution right now. He just walked away. In the middle of the interview, like, that's how you gotta look at that stuff, man. And here's why, if you really do a study of history, if you really pay attention to the laws that are being passed and what the police are now legally able to do because of the change in the laws, if you also understand that the Constitution was written with minorities not even in mind, minorities were not even considered an entire whole human being at the time the Constitution was written. Like, if 5 black people voted, or 5 Mexicans voted, or whatever, or 5 Latinos, excuse me, they all voted, 5 minorities only accounted for 1 person. So, like, we didn't have a voice, a say-so when the Constitution was thought of. Now, in terms of the Civil Rights Movement, that was only 40, 50 years ago. Like, that's not even a whole lifetime. Like, there are people who were fully grown adults when the Civil Rights Movement took place that are still alive today, who feel the effect, and they see the effects of it. And then we went to all this 2015. Man, and listen, ain't nothing changed but the wrapping paper on the gift. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still pulling the same old slick stuff, and people are still falling for it, man. Just because it's wrapped in a different color wrapping paper, man. And this is why it's important. This is why the Baltimore situation and Ferguson situation is important in every city in America. Because, again, like I said, if you understand politics, if you understand history, if you understand law, anytime there was a Holocaust or anytime there was a major genocide, man, they got to test the little stuff that they do first. So the thing that's going on right now that you need to understand is they want to implement martial law. If you don't know what martial law is, Google it. In a nutshell, it's basically America now becomes a police state, and we are not a policed state. I'm not going to get into that right now. I don't have time. I don't want to keep y'all all day. But they want to implement martial law. So how do you implement martial law? You cause problems where the people begin to riot, and then basically it's a sales pitch. You have to create a need. And so if there are riots breaking out all over the country, left and right, there then becomes a need for the National Guard, for the Coast Guard, for the American Army, our own army, to come onto our own soil to protect its people. And then you can then begin to imprison innocent people, which now prisons are a business. Prisons are not run by the government and owned by the government anymore. They're privately owned, and they're for profit, which means that they are implementing more laws that are now harsher on crimes, and so that you end up in prison and jail easier, and that you're in there for longer sentences, and they get paid, per year, per, prisoner, or whatever else goes on like that. So you have to understand that they're trying to create a need to implement martial law so that this can become a police state. And I understand what you're saying. Oh, America wouldn't do that. America wouldn't do that. Well, America is run and fueled by 6 sadistic, selfish, money-hungry politicians. And America is no different than any other superpower that has ever existed. First of all, you have to understand that our country was built and founded on criminal activities. They stole this land. They imprisoned people. They turned people into slaves. They built their wealth on the backs of minorities, and then, like, everything they've done has been cutthroat, and everything they do is cutthroat. Like, even people that support the government will sit up here and tell you that politicians are liars. People that support politicians will tell you that politicians are liars and that they have alternate agendas, that they want to do this, that, and the third. Look, man, y'all need to get off this Republican and Democratic kick, because the reality of it is they work for the same company. You don't get it? Read up and study on Jim Crow laws, man. All of that stuff is America is a big plantation, man. They want to implement martial law, and that's why the Baltimore riots are important in every country in America. If you don't educate yourselves on what's going on, when the stuff starts happening on your front door, you're not going to know what to do. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to do exactly what you judge those other people for doing. So we got to organize now. We got to figure out what we're going to do now, because it's going to come. It's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen today, tomorrow, next week. It can happen 10 years from now. I don't know. What I'm telling you is, if we don't make a change now, it's going to happen sooner than you think, man. There's a story, man, where, like, it's almost like a parable, man, where, like, the guy, you know, it was a community of people, and they came knocking on this guy's door, and they were saying, the Mexican died down the street, man. They came and they kicked his door in, and they stole all his property, and they told him he had to go to prison, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, oh, man, that's messed up. I'm glad it didn't happen to me. And then they came and knocked on his door, like, the next day. And they were like, oh, yeah, the black dude that lived down the street, man, they came and took everything he had, and yada, yada, yada. And same story. And he was like, oh, man, glad it didn't happen to me, you know. And this keeps happening day after day. And people are begging this guy for help, man. Begging this guy for help. And it's happening day after day until, you know what, he's the only guy left on the block. And then when they came to kick in his door, he had nobody to run to for help. If you sit there and you watch injustice and you do nothing about it, you're just as guilty as the individuals providing the injustice. You got to stand up now. We got to stand up in a positive manner. And it's not about a race thing. Like, you know, race has a part in what's taking place. But what I'm saying is, it's not about race. It's about equality. And it's about everybody being free to live their lifestyle, man. And it's about freedom. And to have collective freedom, you have to have collective organization, and the same vision, and the same goal, and the same mindset, that we're not going to let you come in here and do this to our brothers that are just over in Baltimore. And it starts, and even though I know, like me, I can't go out to Baltimore and do anything. I don't have the money. I got bills to pay. I got kids to take care of. I got family to do. But what I am going to do is I'm going to focus on the positive, and I'm going to put positive images out there to change people's mind in a positive way, because that's what I am capable of doing at this point in time for my brothers and sisters of Baltimore. And I refuse to let anybody out there degrade or down talk anything that's happening in Baltimore, even the riots. I agree. I agree that the riot shouldn't be taking place, and it's not the right way to handle it. But I'm not going to let you sit here and say that these people are not civilized. These people are tired. These people are beaten. They're mentally wore out, and they've gotten to their breaking point. And we've all been to our breaking point with something or another in our life. Don't judge these people, man. Shed light in a positive way. Because Baltimore, Maryland could easily be South Bend, Indiana, or Chicago, Illinois, or Detroit, Michigan, or Atlanta, Georgia, or Los Angeles, California, or any other small town in America, small town USA. It could easily be us, man. So you need to shed light in a positive way and stand up and do what's right. If you stand by and watch injustice and you feed into the injustice, then you're just as bad as the people you're judging, and you're just as bad as the people who are causing the problem for the people that you're judging. It's Riding with Rush, man. I hope y'all got something from this, man. Go to the YouTube page, subscribe, add me on Facebook, you know what I'm saying? Like the page. I love y'all. Be blessed, and pray for Baltimore, man. Be easy.